I'm Melissa Shanahan, and this is the Velocity Work Podcast, episode number 66. This podcast is for attorneys who are running their own firms. We explore tactics, tools, and stories related to pushing past simply lawyering well and into building a successful firm. Working in your firm and working on your business are two very different things. This podcast focuses on the latter. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode. So excited to have you here. And I'm really glad to be talking about what we're talking about today because I am in the thick of inspiration. I've been creating a lot of content for mastery group members, the workshops that are coming up, and into 2021. Here's the thing. What I know for sure is that planning is so important, but a precursor to planning, if you want to set up a great plan, is you have to be very clear about what you want. And so this month in Mastery Group, which is the monthly coaching program, anyone can join at any time. We've really set this up so that you can enter at any point and get a ton of value right off the bat. So if that's something that interests you, we'll put the link in the show notes, but it's velocitywork.com/join. And you can learn more there. But here's the deal. In November, the workshop that I'm leading for them is really about reflection and thinking forward so that they're very clear about what they want to line themselves up with. Because in December, we're having, it's a bigger deal workshop. It's all about strategic planning for 2021 for themselves and for their firm. And so we're going to break it up. It's going to be 2 half days. So it'll be a full day workshop. Normally workshops that I lead are a couple hours. This will be heftier though, and they'll be recorded and people can go back to them and really use them to think forward on their own time. But the thing is, what I knew for sure was that I know that the owners I'm working with have been really working hard. They've been pushing hard at results. They've been a part of sprints that we've offered. They have really been working hard. And many of them needed a rest, which of course, right? And we've talked about that. Okay, then if you're going to need a bit of a rest in November, what do you do with November so that it's not just you checking out mentally because you're tired? How can you actually stay focused, but in a way that feels like flow? You aren't pushing really hard towards a result. There's a bit of space you're taking. So they have some things they're going to be focusing on, that really feel good to them. They feel meaningful, but it's not go, 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 go. So this month it was appropriate that I really lead a workshop for them to take some space to look back and reflect on the year that they've had, but at least the last quarter. And then also look forward and figure out what they want to create more of. And I do this in private client retreats, but it looks more like, it's the first part of the day of the retreat. And we focus on, okay, let's look at the last quarter. What are the lessons learned? What are the accomplishments? All of it. Let's get all of it out. And so we map all of that out, and then we carry the lessons forward. We apply those lessons and we make sure they're a part of the planning as we look forward to the future. And so I'm going to be leading a workshop this week for master group members that is all about the reflection piece of it. Like, really look back. What are you proud of? What have you come a long way with? This has been a big year for everyone. And when you look back at it, really acknowledging all of it and understanding what you're really proud of, what you want more of, what you learned that you want to carry forward so that you have a better experience moving forward, and really taking control where you do have control, and getting clear about the future. And what do you want to line up with? If you were to make a strategic plan, what are some of the non-negotiables that plan needs to be lined up with? And so, numbers are a thing, and we will focus on that during the strategic planning workshops in December for these members. But I want to talk to everyone that's listening to this podcast about when it's time to plan. If you don't have clarity about what's most important to you and to your firm, then your plan is going to be off. Your plan can't really be a strategic plan. It is a plan. You can put a plan in place, but if it's strategic, you have to think much bigger before you actually put a plan into place. And that's what this month is for. And I'm encouraging everybody who's listening to this. It does not matter what kind of firm you have. It does not matter how big your firm or small your firm is. It does not matter. Like, all of you listening to this are equal when it comes to what I'm talking about right now, which is in the title of this is Decelerate on Purpose. And when you decelerate, it allows you to get clear. It gets quiet. And then once you get really clear, then you can make a plan, and then it's going to be time to speed back up again. Another way that it's sort of a metaphor that I think is really great that I use in several ways when I talk to clients is this idea that, we're doing it one way and we have a bit of success with doing something one way and the track that we're on. And it's like being on a bike and you're pedaling, faster, 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 faster. And you're cruising, right? Like nothing is wrong. You're really gaining speed and you're cruising. But the thing is, if you look next to you and you realize that if you slow down and you stop, there's actually a car you can get in. And then you can go much faster towards what you want. It feels the opposite of progress to decelerate so that you can get in the car and then you can really go. But that you have to recognize what you're doing when you're decelerating. It's necessary so that you can get in the car. If you don't intentionally slow down and you don't intentionally stop and allow for a bit of stillness, and you ask yourself some great questions and you think forward in a way, you think sort of big picture in a way that we can't do when we're running, right? When we're pedaling really fast, then it allows you to speed up so much more quickly. So the easiest way to say this, and the way that we've all heard about it, is you have to slow down to speed up. Yes, I totally agree with that. But I think it's really useful to have this image in our mind of you being on a bike and you're pedaling. You are cruising. And nothing is wrong, right? But you need to, as the owner, as the visionary, as the leader of your firm, even if it's just you, your true solo, it doesn't matter. As the owner of the firm, you every once in a while, it's very important to slow down your bike in order to get into the car, in order to be able to slow down to speed up, right? And so I'm offering to you this advice, I guess you could say, because of all of the years that I've helped with strategic planning. It is important to have a bit of stillness before you decide and you nail down the plan. You have to get quiet and you have to decelerate on purpose. And it doesn't mean you have to shut down your firm. Clearly, that's not what I'm talking about. But you mentally, if your head is in the game and you are running at full speed and there's a lot of balls in the air, this is where you have to practice discipline and you have to say, you know what? At this day, on this time, all that gets set to the side. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to slow down my bike so that I can think thoroughly and think through things, and then I can make a plan, and that's my car. My plan is my car. And when I have that, then I can really step on the gas. And it's important to do this. And it's not just once. It's not just when you're starting your firm. It's not just when you feel super stressed. Doing this on a regular cadence is really important. I've been talking about lately, and I did a class on it for you guys. You had the opportunity to come to a couple weeks ago, about personal frameworks or personal processes and how important they are. This is an example of one that's important, I think, is when you have a set cadence where you do slow down the bike so that you can get clear and you can make a plan. And then that plan is essentially your car. And then you can really put your foot on the gas. Having some time to decelerate on purpose should be a process that you abide by. And it is a personal process. So yes, I guess it's geared towards your firm, but this totally relies on you. Your firm doesn't get to really speed up or accelerate or experience the success you want it to experience if the person in charge of it is just going to keep the train going, keep the bike going at the same pace pedaling faster and faster, eventually you kind of get to this place where you can't pedal any faster, right? And so the owner has to be the one to decelerate on purpose, which is you, right? Like you mentally, you need to get off the bike and you need to get clear about what's working, what's not working. What do you like? What are you proud of? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? And get clear about all of that so that whatever plan you do make for the near future actually lines up with some wisdom. There's some wisdom behind it and you're not just pedaling. You're not just continuing to pedal on the same path you've been on. I hope this is making sense. I know I'm using a lot of metaphors here. I'm using a metaphor here and I might be exhausting it, but it's important that you think for yourself what needs to happen. It's important that you take space for yourself so that you can actually speed up in a way that's sustainable and is in line with what matters to you and what matters for your firm. Now, some of you are probably like, okay, that sounds great. I totally get it. I'm on board, Melissa. So what do I do? What do I ask myself when I slow down? I am leading an entire workshop on this in Mastery Group. If you really want to join that workshop, you need to join Mastery Group. So I highly encourage you to do that. It's extremely affordable to join Mastery Group and you get a lot of value for what you pay. So it's a no-brainer in my book. That's the way I set this up. If you want to do this on your own, here's my tips. My tips are when you need to schedule space to schedule for clarity. You need to schedule space so that you can think through things. And so first thing is you need to put some time on the calendar where you shut everything down and it'll be a calm space for you to be able to think. When you show up to that space, and I would give yourself at least an hour, but more is better. 2 hours would be fantastic. And when you sit down, before you do anything, I would take 3 to 5 deep, long breaths with the intention of clearing the space so that your brain can really free think, so that you aren't sort of in a box. And when you do that, when you set the tone for the time that you have set on your calendar by taking those deep breaths, you can have some relaxing or, focus kind of music on if you want to, but just really set the tone for that to allow yourself to really sink in and be creative with your thinking and really be in tune with a deeper, wiser part of yourself. For me, when I sit down to do this kind of thing, I'll take a few breaths at the beginning. I light a candle. I have some music on that's sort of promotes flow, I guess. Usually for me, it's instrumental music and there's a pretty constant beat with it that kind of lets me get into a zone. And I take a few breaths at the beginning and then I see what comes up. I'm sort of considering that I'm reflecting on how things are going. I just kind of see what comes up. I sit there for a bit and I think about what's going on in the business and I think about the recent time that we've had and thoughts start coming. And so I'll write those thoughts down as they come. And it usually looks something like, I can't believe how far we've come. I'm so proud of what we're creating. Fears will come up. I don't know if I can keep up the value that we've been providing. Can I keep that up and can I create more of it? I don't know that I can. And those are fears that are usually, not usually, actually always, every time I'm done with the session with myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got so much value to provide to owner attorneys. This is not a problem. But those are the natural fears that come up. So I'll write those down. I will write the fears down about, is my team happy? I'm worried that my team isn't happy. Is the pace getting too quick for them? So I think through all these things, I really allow anything and everything to come up. And it's fears, it's pride, it's sometimes a feeling inside that isn't great, that because there's something we tried and it didn't work. And so I'm going to reflect on that a little bit. I just reflect. And I let anything come up that wants to come up. And if this feels too airy-fairy for you guys, I encourage you to sit down to do it because you will experience the same thing. It's not going to be crickets for 2 hours. That's not going to happen. If you set the tone for that space, and this is decelerating on purpose, you set the tone for that space and you just allow there to be space and see what comes up. And so once I'm done reflecting, then I think forward, okay, knowing all of this, all these thoughts that just came up, the fears that just came up, the things that didn't go well, where there were lessons really learned, all of that comes up. Now, as I move forward, what do I want to do with that information? What do I want to do with those fears? What do I want to do with that? And as I think forward, it's like, okay, the stuff that I'm really proud of, we want to do more of. That's good to know. That's done. That needs to be part of the plan. There's usually, when I'm sitting down to do this, new ideas come up. And so I'll write those sort of on a corner of the page. Like, okay, I want to keep those are ideas I might actually do something with. And then the fears, I'll literally work through the fears. Okay, these fears do not serve me moving forward. And so what do I think through the fears and like, okay, really, what am I afraid of? Like, why, what do I mean? Like I couldn't come up with value. I thought that when I first started my podcast. How am I going to come up with a topic week over week? You know what? There's always and I'm inspired by the humans that I get to work with. That's what inspires the topics that I talk about. It's always there. It's always there. And so me thinking that I have to rely on me to come up with all the topics to talk about, of course I might run out. I might hit a wall. But if I focus on providing value to the people I'm working with, there's always more. I'm listening to them. I'm hearing what they're going through. I'm listening to their fears and to their struggles and to their barriers, to their wins and their pride. And all of that informs what I'm going to be talking about on the podcast. And so when that's an example of a fear I kind of work through. Like, I don't have to it's not just my brain that is responsible for the content. Of course, I need to elaborate on it. And of course, I need to deliver it in a way that you guys can hear. But that fear that naturally comes up doesn't have any legs. It just doesn't. And so when I start to realize like, okay, so that takes care of that fear. It's not all on me. It's me paying attention to my clients. It's me paying attention to mastery group members. And then the content takes care of itself, the topics. So that fear's gone, right? So I work through the things that come up. And by doing that, I'm able to then speed up so much faster with whatever plan I put in place, because that crap isn't still lingering. I've taken care of it. But I couldn't have done that. I can't take care of it when there's no space to take care of these things. When I am moving at, 100 miles an hour with serving clients and with implementing the plan, then it doesn't allow for the space. I have to intentionally decelerate so that I get this kind of clarity. And then it allows me to speed up and in a direction. It's almost like, okay, all the work I'm doing and the clarity I'm providing, it may just be righting the ship by 1 degree, and that's perfect. That's all I need. I just need to realign and make sure I'm focused on the right things. And then I can move forward quickly and really trust that I'm not 1 degree off, right? Because it's so easy to get 1 degree off on your path. And when you keep pedaling as fast as you can on your bike, and God, I'm using all kinds of metaphors here, but when you go and you're just going, and your path's off by 1 degree, it's a huge problem down the road. And so having the space to intentionally decelerate and really think through things allows you to get into the car and then go forward in perfect alignment to the best of your ability. So yeah, so I after I reflect, and then as I think forward, what I want to carry forward with me, there's lots of things we're doing right that I want to keep up. There's fears in the way. How do I dissolve those? How do I work on those? And if you need help with that, that's the kind of thing we do in Mastery Group. So use us for that. And then when I think forward and it's like, okay, these are my non-negotiables. This is what I want to carry forward. I'm getting rid of these fears. They do not serve my people. They do not serve myself. I'm getting rid of those and I'll work through those. And then I think about, okay, what's most important to me? Most important to me is to provide value. And I know that if I am providing value and if I'm continuing to find new and better ways to do that, my business will be taken care of. And so it's almost like, okay, I can set a revenue goal and that's a beautiful thing, but the how to get there is value based for me. And so then I can plan forward and think, okay, how can I create way more value than the goal that I want to set for the business. How can I line up with that? And then ideas start coming, workshop ideas and classes I can teach, and engaging with my current list in a way that's really valuable to them, something that they can carry forward. Thinking forward to people who've never heard of us before, and what can I provide that's really valuable to them? So thinking forward in a way that really lines me up with the ultimate for myself and for Velocity Work, that is how I do it. And the reason I'm telling you that, I know I don't have a law firm, but that it is exactly the same if you have a law firm. What can you do? Like, how can you reflect? And how can you take those things forward in a way and decide what matters? Decide what, no matter what plan you put into place, these are the things that matter. And when you do that, crafting your strategic plan is so much easier. It just flows out of you much more quickly. And on top of that, it makes sure that your plan is really in alignment with some of the things you've stated and you've gotten clear on that are very important. So not only does the plan come more easily, but it's a better plan, period, because you're lined up with what you said matters. So I hope this is helpful. I want you to take space. I want you to decelerate on purpose. Slow down your bike so that you can get into a car and use this space, because the holidays are coming and there's not going to be a lot of space in the holidays. We always think there is, right? But you don't want to depend on the space in order to do the important work. Do the important work now. Get clear now. And then in December, you can create and put together a strategic plan. If you'd like to be along in the journey with us as we do it, go check out Mastery Group. This is what we do. Set aside some time to get clear, everybody, and then we'll talk more about strategic planning soon. Okay, have a good one. Bye. Hey there. If you enjoyed this podcast, I highly recommend you come and check out Mastery Group. It is where owner attorneys come together to study this material, apply it, and thus create really big results for their firm and for their life. So come on over, velocitywork.com/join to get more information and get started. Show notes from this episode can be found at velocitywork.com/podcast.